Welcome to the Buy Box Experts podcast. We bring to light the unique opportunities brands face in today's e-commerce world.
Hello and welcome to the Buy Box Experts podcast. This is Eric Stopper. Today's episode is brought to you by Buy Box Experts. Buy Box Experts takes ambitious brands and, of course, makes them unbeatable. They have a team of consultants who will identify key low-hanging fruit for some of your best-selling ASINs on Amazon. And guys, by the way, if you come to my team and you give us access to your account, we will open up the gates of heaven for you and show you the way, right? Like, we know what we're doing. We've done more than 1,000 audits at this point. And so please come and talk to us. We'd love to help you understand how you can increase revenue on Amazon. Go to buyboxexperts.com, click on the free analysis button. It's completely free, no strings attached right now. But in 2 days, we're going to start charging for it because our time is getting super valuable. There's too much to do, too many sellers on Amazon right now. So come and take advantage of that. Now today, I am joined by Spencer Arnsten. He's had a bunch of different roles, and he is an entrepreneur by his own right, involved in all kinds of projects. I met him several years ago, and this is really the first time that I had an opportunity to sit down with him and pin him down and see what he's doing at this moment. He's currently the co-founder and chief growth officer of Buy It Live, a social commerce platform that allows customers to buy directly from social media posts using only the comment section. It's pretty cool. Go check it out. They're kind of splitting it into a bunch of different products right now and working on their strategy. And so right now, he's actually working on a new project called Shopathon. And it's a platform that allows service providers like massage therapists and chiropractors to monetize their product recommendations for clientele. Right? So if you go to the chiropractor and they say, hey, you should use Tiger Balm, that client is going to go and buy Tiger Balm somewhere else, probably Amazon. And he wants those service providers to be able to get a little bit of that cheddar, to be able to offer products directly. Spencer has an impressive background. Look him up on LinkedIn. He's done med tech a couple of times, B2B sales. He's ran the gambit on everything from startups to acquisitions. His colleagues say his ideas are fresh, interesting, unconventional, and of great value to any team of which he will be a part. I brought him on to discuss his latest projects. Spencer, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so before the show, we were talking about a lot of different things. And I do want to put in kind of a caveat for Amazon sellers. You guys tune into this podcast to learn how to sell more products, right? You want to run a better business. We've had executive coaches on here and stuff. If you are not into wholesaling your products to service providers, then a lot of what we talk about on this show might not really do it for you. But hear Spencer out because what he's got going is pretty cool. So Spencer, I want them to hear it from your mouth. What is this? Why is it so great for service providers? Give us the rundown.
Well, I mean, I think about this whole e-commerce evolution of e-commerce and how really for the longest time it's been about who owned the real estate, right? If you had the real estate for Tiger Balm, right? You brought it up. Like if you were the only one selling it online, then when people started looking, you were going to capture all that. So there's an advantage to being the first, and that has kind of played out. Like now there's 1,000 people selling Tiger Balm, and there's maybe so many different options for it that now we're trusting strangers online to give us a recommendation on which one's best. We're trusting those reviews, and we turn to that, and whatever. I worked at a company called Experticity, which is now called Expert Voice, and the whole thing was that there are product experts who are making recommendations that people turn to. And again, like if by tapping in and working with them, you're gonna hopefully have them recommend your product. So they had a bunch of brands that would work with these experts. And I always wonder, why aren't we just monetizing that? Because that's the ultimate attribution. Like let those people actually sell the product instead of just recommending it. And so that's what Shopathon is really all about, right? If I'm working with you, I come to you you're a chiropractor, I've got this pain, and you recommend Tiger's Balm, and I've never heard of this stuff. I trust you, right? You've been doing this in this industry for 20 years, and you've got certification around this. And if you say that Tiger Balm A is better than Tiger Balm B, I trust you. And now Shopathon exists to say, hey, I'm recommending this product. In fact, this is maybe a use case. I'm just going to send you a text message, and you click on that, and it's your shopping cart, and you can just, it's already in the shopping cart. You just check on that, or click on that and check out. And so now that chiropractor is going to earn a healthy commission, 25-30% affiliate commission on that recommendation.
So, and the alternative, of course, is I, as the service provider, the chiropractor, I hold inventory in house, right? Or like a barber, for instance. I got all my product on the shelf, and I have to manage that inventory, and I have to buy it, and I have to tie up my cash flow, and that's the whole idea, right? Is bridging that gap and making it easier to offer more products to clients.
Right. And the barber's a great one, because I don't get a haircut every week and a half. I get a haircut every 6 to 8 weeks. And when I run out of product, it's typically in between. It's not like, so it's like I've got a month left until I go see my barber, and I've run out of product. And so I will go and buy it at the grocery store or on Amazon, which depending on which product I'm using. So they might sell it to me one time and capture some value for that if I just happen to be there and I like that product, but I'm not going to drive over to my barber when I need to get it the next time.
Now, I have to text. I happen to text my barber, but what about the folks that have never had that kind of relationship? I certainly never texted my chiropractor ever.
Right.
Is the shift happening? Is it pretty typical for these service providers to be texting their clients and vice versa?
It really depends. I find, so for example, with massage therapy, a major chunk of most massage therapists who've been doing this a while, they have a lot of repeat clientele. These people come in and get a massage monthly or regularly, right, for years. Mm-hmm. So they have a relationship with these people. And so it's not irregular for them to say, hey, what do you have available? When can I come in? Same thing with a hairstylist. Like, my wife sees the same hairstylist and has for 14 years, right? So she texts her, gets an appointment. She doesn't have to go and book through any other weird whatever. So yeah, that is happening. It's becoming easier. Of course, with what we built, it's not only a text-based checkout. We also provide a normal Shopify-esque website for people to shop for products. So they could come in and say, I could send you the link to my product store. Again, I could include that if it's on Instagram, if it's on Facebook, I could text it to you. There's all kinds of interesting ways that people are connecting with their clientele these days.
Now, one elephant in the room idea that I think of whenever I hear this this concept is the whole affiliate program, right? And now even on Amazon, you've got celebrity profiles that you can build for folks. And so are these just mutually exclusive parts of the market that happen to overlap a little bit, that can exist on their own, where you have a digitally native ecosystem of products that you offer to service providers, and there's affiliates over here on the other side of the fence? Do you see those clashing? Do you see one defeating the other over time?
Yes and no, right? Trust is changing, right? With this, the influencer model is really about a level of trust. If I follow somebody and I trust their recommendations on Instagram because they seem to be in this space, that's up to me. If I choose to trust them and they recommend a product, obviously it's working. People are buying those products, they're clicking on those links, and they're going and so there's a reason why those influencers are getting paid. I don't see that necessarily going away. What I do see happening is that these influencers are starting to catch on and say, hey, I got paid to do a post that I think drove hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales. Why not launch my own product within that? And we've seen over the last 2 years, we've seen this exploding, right? There's people that are saying I've got the audience. They trust me in this vertical or in this category. I can release my own product lineup. And whether it's clothing or whether it's hair extensions, and they're doing it and they're capturing 100% of the value.
Right. We manage Rob Deerdick's brand of protein powder, working on a brand of another protein powder, actually, from the former Mr. Olympia. So yeah, I think a lot of people are heading that direction, but that seems like something separate from what Shopathon is meant to do. Because if I am a influencer and I want to launch a product, I go to YouTube and I look for, hey, how do I launch my own product? Or somebody tells me how to do it, right? So I view these as very much separate things. Am I wrong in assuming that those are two different markets?
Right. I mean, yeah. And again, you're thinking like, here's a Rob Dyrdek, right? Or the former Miss, Miss America or whatever. Somebody who's got the audience to justify paying somebody to manage this for them. Again, a massage therapist, a personal trainer, a barber, they don't have that. They don't have that opportunity. So the way that Shopathon is built is to say, look, we've got pre-built in category products, for a sports massage therapist or for a barber and this, whatever, that deals with curly haired people, whatever, right? We've got these categories, these niche of products so that you can roll that out and begin selling from day one without having to go and figure it all out. We build that, we give you that instant, that shopping site, and you can start selling product day one.
Interesting. So walk me through, I'm a physical therapist, or let's just take physical therapist. And I'm having my clients that are always asking me, hey, I've got this specific pain and where should I go? And you, as a physical therapist, I just send them somewhere. Yeah. And then they go and buy the product and I don't see any of that transaction. So what does it look like when they're actually using Shopathon?
So this actually happened to me this last year. My knee was swelling. I went into the physical therapist and, he had all this expert consultation on what was going on, made me feel, okay, I'm going to be okay, but here's what's going on. Here's why it's swelling. Here's why it's doing this, right? And he said, there's 3 things that I recommend you get. And he recommended 3 products, none of which I had, and then left me just kind of hanging.
Did he even write them down for you?
No, I had to, he mentioned out loud. And then when I asked kind of more specific, like which one, and then he's like, I can write that down for you. Right. But it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to recommend this, but whatever. Cause he doesn't, and why would he? Cause he's not capturing any value really.
Right. He doesn't even realize that he's missing the sale.
So under this scenario, Shopathon, I could say, we've got, the core products that a physical therapist is selling. And he says, hey, I'm going to recommend that you get this and this and, some stretch bands to really exercise your knee. And I've got some videos of how to use those on there. We've got all this kind of built around so that he can go in. And again, I foresee it where I'm sitting in that office and he says, I'm going to send you an email or I can send you a text message with these products right here. Here's the 3 that I like that I think, that work great for your needs, and go for it. If you already have one of those, great. But if you don't, here they are. I get that email or I get that text message, I click on it and I'm ready to check out. I buy them. They're at my house, right? I don't have to kind of go through that psychological, that energy of trying to figure it out. That's where there's a lot of friction in the purchase process. And when he said, here's the ones I recommend, the likelihood is I'm going to buy those ones, right?
So that begs the question, because we as a team, we're obsessed with the idea of a funnel. Because on Amazon, you can advertise on, like, I'll just take a random example, like pain cream. And there's tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of searches for pain cream every single month on Amazon. And most of the people searching for pain cream aren't going to buy the first thing they see, right? They're going through, they're looking at reviews, they're asking friends. There's like a whole process to it. And they slowly move down this funnel. Yeah. Their searches statistically start to get way more specific. It's like knee pain cream, and then like ACL tear pain cream, and then they start looking for branded terms because they've heard of them. And then finally they search for a brand, maybe they click on the brand, and maybe they click on their competitor that's advertising on their listing, right? Like that's typically the flow of this funnel. So for you, where in the funnel is Shopathon? Because you're educating me, which means I'm at the top of the funnel, but you're also like the odds of you converting a sale at the point of purchase or at the point of recommendation because of that trust is super bottom of the funnel. So what are you, right? Like where do you fit into the mix of product awareness for a company?
Right. It's really a very short funnel, right? I mean, I'm saying, hey, based on your conversation, I'm going to tell you, here's the products you need. So again, when I'm going through that search on Amazon, I'm starting with the brand, with a term, I'm getting down to brand, and I'm looking at reviews, and I finally get to a point where I'm like, this checks all the boxes. Again, if my chiropractor, if my physical therapist says, Spence, here's what I recommend, then I trust him, right? And that's why I'm meeting with him in the first place. And he gave me this recommendation. I'm 90% going to buy those products instead of going, well, I don't know if he knows what he's talking about on stretch bands. Like as long as I can feel that those stretch bands like they're not more expensive than the ones I can find somewhere else, then I'm going to buy those. Right. So it's maybe a 2-step funnel.
Yeah. And once you check box number 1, box number 2 is pretty much automatic free response. Now this sounds really great. And I have some qualms with the business model because of the way that it excludes the brand from participating in the transaction, because you are very much private labeling the products that come into your ecosystem, right? Why not set it up so that you are the portal that assimilates these service providers and the customers together, and it becomes like another, even like this is another thing for us to talk about, but the editorial recommendations on Amazon. Have you ever seen those where it's someone writing about the product and then boom, 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 like those are the 3 options that they recommend? The conversion rate on those things are insane, right? So why not act more like an editorial person and connect these people together and make it easy for them to check out? What do you think?
Oh, that was my initial idea, honestly. Obviously from a business model standpoint, and that's the easiest way to go about it. Setting up your own products, and as a lot of listeners, right, have done this, they know that's a lot more work, and it's harder to do. But as I was thinking about the long-term viability of this business plan model and business plan, if I just sell a branded product that you've heard of, and I capture that volume or that value that first time as a massage therapist, that second month when you run out of that product and you need it again, you're going to go to Amazon. You're going to Amazon, and great. I'm sure you still appreciate the fact that I recommended it to you. But beyond that, I haven't monetized that. And again, especially if I'm really good and keep my clientele, then over time, I'm really not earning anything off of those recommendations because I've already recommended everything to my clientele. That makes sense.
Yeah. I wonder if Amazon's going to eventually roll out attribution, right? Well, they have, and their attribution product in our opinion is junk right now because it doesn't give you any insights into like what they're doing on the platform. It just says, did they come from Facebook or not?
So this is interesting. When I talked to I called my physical therapist up when I was putting together this model and said, hey, I'm working on this. Give me your feedback. And he says, man, right now all I've got are Amazon links, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, but it's messy for me to even send those out. It's not consistent. And then this. What does somebody make off an Amazon affiliate link?
Oh, nothing.
Right? We're talking single-digit percentage points on the high end, maybe 8. When you're working with your own in-house brand, we're talking 30%, right? So for somebody making recommendations, to be able to say, hey, this is 3 to 4 times the commission that you'd make by selling a branded product out there. It's a pretty simple business decision.
And I think this is a compelling argument for just wholesaling in general. Right? If you've got a product and it's pretty unique, you want to get it into as many different mediums as possible. And you don't really care what somebody brands it as so long as they're ordering products from you all the time. So is that a big part of this too? Almost like you're pushing products from the providers, but you're also pulling these brands to wholesale to you.
Yeah. So I will say that there are specific cases where there's brand equity built up. For example, the reason this model even came about is one of the clients we had at Buy It Live, and they're a leading kinesiology tape, the leading kinesiology tape provider, right? They have 90% of the retail market. And it was interesting in their marketing research, they said the number one way for us to sell product is word of mouth. Number 2 is what they call their clinical professionals word of mouth, right? So these clinical product professional recommendations. So sports massage therapists, physical therapists, chiropractors, these are the people that are talking to and saying, you should try kinesiology tape, and here's the brand that we like. But they didn't have any way to actually connect directly to those. And so that was, they said, we're frustrated. We don't know how to connect with these. There's 100,000 plus of these people, and we don't know how to connect to them. So that was the genesis for what Shopathon is. And so where there's a branded product like that, that's with a ton of brand equity and name recognition, we can pull that into our universe here and let people sell that product under that kind of wholesale model.
Interesting, because and I had mentioned this to you before. The So Right product, for instance, super great for lower back pain. And check it out. I'm not getting any affiliate money for mentioning them on the podcast.
Nice. You should.
I wonder, for somebody like me, right? Maybe I just don't mention products that I don't make affiliate commissions for, right? Like, I'm wondering if I'm a provider, I want to give the best thing, right? And I want to be aware of the best thing and then be able to sell that through your ecosystem. So how do you make sure that the stuff that is being provided through Shopathon is the best on the market? And how do you convince those brand owners and potentially patent holders to white label their products and sell them under your, on your platform?
Well, I think one, if there's brand recognition, we're not going to ask them to white label it, right? We want to piggyback off of whatever brand equity they've earned. So when somebody has built a strong brand that's differentiated and has that recognition as being the leader in the space, if it's So Right, for example, like, let's do it, right? Because if somebody comes into my office as a chiropractor or massage therapist and they're like, oh, my buddy told me about the So Right, and usually they're going to go directly to buy it. But if they said, hey, I'm really interested in trying that, do you recommend it? Then great. We want to make sure that they can capture that value. But really, with most of these products, and I think people recognize this, like, it really is a marketing thing. As long as we meet certain standards, like the quality of product is there, and we certainly want to make sure that we are building the quality of product for our own private label, or for our own, brands, digitally native brands, because if that isn't there, then we're only going to alienate the distribution channel, right? Which is these massage therapists. If they get bad negative feedback coming back that it didn't work, or the stretchy bands broke, and the physical therapist is like, man, this is garbage. So we have to make sure that that's part of the model. Providing right products.
I would disagree that you mentioned that it's like a marketing thing that everybody is aware of. We are monkeys, man. Like, selling on Amazon and doing marketing as an exercise is very tricky, right? You're like, anybody can make their stuff look like it is just straight up like the toothpaste that Jesus uses, right?
Right.
So I wonder if we're really going to be able to bridge that gap with what we're proposing here, because I do want to offer like the best thing. And so I guess it's on your shoulders to not only have good products, but also to be able to build a really great brand behind all of the products that your service providers are doing. So how in the world are you doing that? Because that's two very difficult activities.
So I just got off the phone with somebody who owned their own massage practice for 10 years in the prenatal massage, right? And was talking to her, and I was asking her which product she sold most often. And she said the number one product that I sold all the time was vitamin E, right? Because it's like the only thing that really is proven over time to help for stretch marks. And so all these women coming in for prenatal massage were obviously worried about stretch marks because they're growing and they don't want their body to whatever. But I said, how many people, I said, what brand did you sell? And she told me, and I said, how many people came in asking by that brand? And she's like, well, zero. Nobody's ever thought about vitamin E. So they trusted her. She said this brand was the brand to go with. They went with it. So again, if they came back and they said it had a bad smell or something, right? Then we're in trouble. But again, the consumers are going off the recommendations of people they trust, which is why this model works. They have a trusted relationship. That's why the person's coming to them in the first place. And so we're not fighting that battle of having to gain trust, which is what you guys as marketers are having to figure out. How do we make it look like this is the best? How do we get reviews on there to make it look like this is the best? I'm simply saying, here's somebody who you trust already because you're lying on their table and you already trust them enough to be naked under a sheet. And then they're saying, here's the product. So yeah, we're capitalizing on that trust.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the funnel discussion, right? Like in marketing, we talk about the three different sets that people fall into: the awareness set, the consideration set, and then some people call it different things, but I just say the cart, right? They're in the cart. You're able to do all three. That's the idea of it, right? Is you're able to make them aware of this vitamin E brand that, Jesus uses, and then you're also helping them consider it, and you're helping them put it in their buy now box, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty compelling. I wonder what is going to happen when you have these really specific products. Like another one that comes to mind is MyoStorm. They're on Kickstarter, I think, like this season actually, and it's this ball. And it's this brand new thing. No one's ever seen exactly anything like it. So is it just on you guys' shoulders to go and aggregate the best stuff for these service providers? How do you figure that out? How do you figure out what is the best for a...
Yeah, and there's definitely seasonality to it, right? Like right now, CBD is so hot. Everybody's asking about CBD. But in 3 more years, it'll be something else, right? I mean, what's going to be the newest thing then? And so, of course, we want to be able to be ahead of, or at least so that they can respond and say, well, this is what I like. We have to, so we're going to constantly be hanging on to that. And we're not going to hit everything, right? Again, it's kind of the Pareto principle, like over 20 years, they'll sell the same 8 to 12 products, and there will be fads that will come and go and that will be hot. And if something comes in and it's obvious that this is revolutionary and we need to have it, we'll figure out a way to get it.
Yeah. They'll probably tell you at that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not perfect, but these people have been doing this a long time. And the trust is there. I mean, this, again, going back to when I worked at Expert Voice, if you have a friend or a neighbor that works for Ski Patrol, and if you're looking to buy new skis, you're going to go ask them, like, hey, what skis are you using? Or what goggles do you like? Or what jacket do you wear for this kind of weather? And you trust them. And so when they say this is the one, like, I don't think you're going to question and push back on them. And really, those skis will update over time, and you want to make sure it's current, but you're trusting that these people, again, if you're laying on their table or if you're, coming in to deal with whatever, you're trusting that they have most up-to-date recommendations. And most people don't come in with an idea of what product they're looking for. They're coming in looking for a solution to a problem, not a product. And that's just part of the protocol.
I wonder how much friction there is between those that come in with an idea of what they already think that they need, right? Like they've asked their friends about a couple of products and they come, hey, have you ever heard of this? And the chiropractor hasn't, right? What happens at that point? Is there less trust with the service provider?
I mean, that's really an individual thing, right? I mean, look, a chiropractor or a massage therapist might be an even better example. They're making $70 for an hour-long massage. If they sell some product, they might make $15.
Sure.
I think they're smart enough to know, like, I'm not going to try and force something on somebody to risk the $70 recurring hour, whatever, for an extra $15 on top of that. Like, so I think they're going to say, oh, that sounds awesome. I'll look into it. And maybe that's something that we should be carrying. And I think they're going to make a note of that. Right.
Interesting.
We'll gather that feedback, I'm sure.
I think this is a pretty compelling case for why folks should try to reach out to you and wholesale their products, especially if you're listening to this and you sell CBD. Oh my gosh, you can't sell CBD on Amazon. You're doomed.
Yeah.
So reach out to Spencer. How do people get a hold of you?
Shopathon.co. I'd say go to, I'm just going to set it now. Like, just go to info@shopathon.co. I know that's the generic response, but let's do that. And I'm definitely always looking for something that my clientele need to be selling. And if you have that, we're open to conversations.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks for listening to the BuyBox Experts podcast. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web, and we'll see you next time.